and welcome to the Priggya Arora Show, where we discuss law and entrepreneurship with people who have been there and done that. My name is Priggya Arora, founder of PA Legal and Intellectual Property Law Firm in India. And today we have very inspiring Shalini Sitharaman with us. She is founder of Patented Network, and we'll have a conversation with her. Welcome, Shalini, on the show.
Thank you, Priggya. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope you're doing well too. So, Shalini, to begin with, this is our warm-up question that we ask everyone. What is one thing in life that you can't live without?
You know, I'm going to offend so many people with that answer. So I'm just going to say coffee.
Wow. I think it is the smartest answer what I have heard, because everybody's like, oh my God, I have so many people to name. Wow, great. So Shalini, can you tell us something about your journey and how did you become the person you are today?
Okay, so there isn't anything really fascinating about my journey. I am a self-professed nerd and a professional student. I never stopped studying. And I have always been like this. I've always been into my books and my writing and my poetry and my maths and my physics. And I think the main thing that made me the person I was and made me take a stand and, you know, fight for my education is that I come from a very traditional background. And, you know, the only thing that was envisioned for me was get a good degree so that you can get married. And for me, and, you know, offers were like, okay, this person, you know, we are getting you grooms who are from IIT, who are from IIM, who are from foreign universities. And I said, you know, I can do all those things myself. Why do I have to live on reflected glory? So that is, I think, one of the main driving forces of my life, that I don't want to live off of someone else's name. I want to do all those things myself. So I went to a US university, I went to IIT, and I did everything that was being offered to me. I did it myself. So I think that hunger was there.
Wow, awesome. I think it's so beautiful to know the journey, because we have all been through that, like get old, get married stuff. And I think all of us are the people I converse with, you and I myself as well. You know, dreams come true by self hard work and things like that. So it's like we have to motivate ourselves throughout. So very inspiring. And now coming to your love for IP, and what made you enter into IP? How did you cultivate the love in this field?
I watched Legally Blonde. Okay, that is the cheating answer. So my first love was physics. And I went to the US, I went to Ohio State University to do my PhD in biophysics. So the very first day that I entered a lab to do a rotation, you know, 3-month practice with the professor, he was very upset. And he didn't give me like a warm welcome that I was expecting as an international student. And later on in the day, he apologized, saying that, listen, Shalini, I'm sorry I did not give you the welcome you were expecting, because I had an invention which I disclosed to a friend, and he published it in his name, and he's also applied for a patent in his name. And, you know, these were all new things. Yes, publication, yes, I knew. And I also had heard of the journal in which it was published. It was published in Science, which is a very important journal if you're a researcher. And I heard the word patent, and I said, you know, why is he so upset because of that? So I started researching. And then I realized, hey, you know what, with a technical background, I could be a patent attorney, or I could at least be I could be doing something with patents. I didn't know all these terms then, you know, drafting and attorney and so on. So I said, okay, let me look for law schools. And I started looking for law schools in the US at that time. I'm talking, you know, I'm going to date myself with this number, but I'm talking of late 90s, early 2000s, where there weren't intellectual property programs at the LLB, at the JD level. They were only offered as LLM courses. And I did not want to wait to do an LLM. You know, I wanted to start at the beginning with IP. So that was the day, I think, that was a true beginning of IR. And of course, I saw Legally Blonde and I got a little more impetus that if Reese Witherspoon can do it, so can I.
Wow, awesome. So it's so nice to know your journey and how you entered into IP. Because IP is, I think everybody has a story that why they chose IP. Either it's love for technology, or it's some story that people come to know about patents and they start working in this field. So, so Shalini, now coming to your venture, we think that it is something which can create a disruption in the field, like finances and IP, finances and patents together. So tell us something about cohesion between IP and finances and how you plan to take forward your venture.
That's a brilliant question. Right now, on a daily basis, I am fighting to get an understanding of IP and finance in the same page. Because IP, of course, I have on more than a decade's worth of background in that, so it comes easily. But I'm also doing my PhD in valuation of patents right now, and I'm halfway through it. And I have to pick up finance concepts, and I think there are the mathematics is beautiful. I mean, and then you think that something so beautiful and something so intricate, now I have to change all these terminologies and make it fit patents or patents or whatever you want to call it. And it is exciting, and it is scary and nerve-wracking at the same time, because it's two extremely intricate fields. You know how you can just get caught up in patent law and with your Chisholm and your Narayanan, and every little facet of it is exciting and interesting. And now imagine there is like a duplicate of that, but in finance. And so you're going through all this. Yes, I know differential equations, I know integration, but now it's random, and it's not supposed to be linear, and something is happening. So it is a beautiful intersection of law, of patent, technology, law, and mathematics.
Wow. Awesome. I think it's simply we can say we can club finance, we can club IP and law, which is the technology law, together and reach it to commercialization of the technology, which is the ultimate goal. Yes. So, Shalini, let's discuss something about educating people that they should get IP which is useful. I think there is always a gap between generating IP and generating useful IP which can be commercialized. Do you think that there is a gap and every IP cannot be commercialized, or there is some gap between marketing of IP, or there is some gap between finance and IP together?
Okay, I think you stole all my answers. The thing is, yes, you're right. At some level, there is a gap that not all IP that is protected is useful or can be more, even though usefulness is a mandatory clause of granting a patent, but not everything that is granted can be commercialized. And I think somewhere the inventors or the patent holders also know that. Having said that, there are also people who can sell ice to an Eskimo. So they can, if you have, and I'm waiting for this field to open up, right? I'm right now, I'm either alone or one of very few people. But when it opens up, it'll be interesting to see what kind of IP is being packaged and sold, and what's going to happen with it. So I'm waiting to see that. But I am not judging anyone. Like anyone who comes to me saying I want to list this, I conduct a due diligence and I list it, because if the patent office has granted something in all its wisdom, I'm not going to question it. But if there is a buyer or not, that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
And there is a gap between finance and IP as well, because pricing something is very different from the value of it.
Correct.
If I give you a bottle of water, you know exactly what you're going to pay for it, right? The price, but the value is if you're stuck in the desert and I give you the bottle of water, versus if you're sitting by a river with fresh stream flowing beside you, then the value is going to be different.
Correct.
So there is a gap, and it's one of my PhD questions is, what is that gap? What does that gap depend on?
Correct.
And when you go into something like patent, that gap becomes more intricate because, there are patent is not just a legal protection, right? It's got technology, it's got geography, with jurisdictions and who are the inventors. And sometimes it is the age of the inventors that counts, who are the applicants and what are they doing to protect it. And, what are they doing for litigation and opposition and so on. So then that gap becomes more and more like one bundle of yarn that is getting convoluted there.
Yeah. And I also think a lot of people do not focus on due diligence. They run after securing IP without having due diligence. And I think we need to promote more due diligence in itself so that right IP can be protected.
Yes. So just application for the sake of application should be dissuaded.
Yeah.
Discouraged. And it's like no parent likes you to tell them that their baby is not up to the mark or something. So I understand how inventors feel when you tell them that this cannot be patented, but I think someone has to do it because it saves them heartache in the long run.
I know. It's like for me, it's an everyday story that I have to tell people. Oh, people will come. This IP is registered in US, and I now want to register it in India. And I say, sorry, man, this cannot happen because novelty is a requirement. Right. And then they'll question you that if they got it granted in US, then we also can get it granted.
What do you answer to that, right? I have a problem with traditional knowledge being patented.
Yeah.
A lot of people come and say that, I've got a herbal formulation, but it's not a formulation. It's just mixing 4 or 5 herbs. There's no synergy, and there is, you're taking away something that belongs to our folklore and to our indigenous people.
Like pickles and all, I know it's a general query that our mother has made a pickle and we want to patent it.
Yeah. So there has to be more awareness, like you said, rightly said, there has to be awareness being generated in this field.
Yeah, definitely. And we are working towards that, both you and I together. Yeah. Let's educate more people in this area. And yeah, probably I think it will reduce some gap if we spread more education in this manner.
Yes, I think you're doing it on all fronts with your show and your newsletter, which I've been enjoying a lot.
Oh, awesome. And even you, I just love your LinkedIn posts and everything, like a story you put forward, such interesting stuff. So I'll ask everybody to follow Shalini for more insights on patents and finances.
You forget. That's because you forget if you read something in a textbook, but if you hear a story, you'll never forget it.
Correct, absolutely. So Shalini, now coming back to you and your life, how do you keep yourself motivated in terms of doing so much work, educating people, doing patented network, then also your PhD? How do you manage all stuff together?
I think there is that hunger that was there. Like I wanted to do a PhD from the time I knew what the concept of a PhD was. I think I was 13, 14 or something. And I was like, I need to get a PhD. And my first attempt at PhD did not go through because of personal reasons. So now I'm getting a second shot and I'm excited about it. But also that the longer you spend in this IP field and you're reading so many patent drafts every day, and you're researching so much technology every day, and then you realize that you know more and you know less and less about more and more.
Yeah.
And I think that is the biggest motivator, that gap. Again, in this also, there is that gap. And I know I'll never be able to fill it no matter how many books I read and no matter how much I study. But if I can narrow that gap down even, an infinitesimal amount, I think I'll be happy. So that's what keeps me motivated.
Shalini, I just remember a beautiful story behind this. So I read it in a book which said, the more you learn, the more you feel that there is a gap and you need to learn more. And if you do not learn anything, you are just in the world that I know everything.
Rightly said. I think PhD is not about gaining a degree and learning something. A PhD only makes you realize that you don't know anything.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, you get a degree when you admit that I don't know anything.
Yeah, and Shalini, because I know you personally and I also know about your running journey, tell us something about how you started running and when you started running and what all you accomplished there.
Actually, this week I just completed a decade of running. I've been running
Wow,
since
awesome.
2012. Thank you. But I'll also bring myself down from that pedestal, because initially I started running because I am athletically uncoordinated. I cannot do your gym and I cannot do aerobics and yoga, and it's very, and dancing. It takes me a lot to be, two left feet. That's what I have. So and I was living in Oregon at that time, in Portland, which is the headquarters of Nike. And Nike has made some beautiful tracks there, 3 mile and 5 mile tracks. And initially, everyone is always running there, no matter whether it's morning, night, winter, summer, spring, everybody is running. So I said, okay, this is something I could try. Let me see. So I started running with a 5K. I started training for a 5K. It was a program called Couch to 5K. And I started running with that. And the day I finished my 5K, I said, hey, I feel good. I came home and I registered for a 21K, which is a half marathon for July. So I said, okay. And, then from then on, it increased to 20 and 10, 20. And then I came back to 10 and 20s. And then I went to 40. I did an ultra marathon of 50 kilometers. And then I did some sprint triathlons. I got into swimming, cycling. And then last year I met with an accident. So I was off running and swimming and cycling for 7 to 8 months. And so this year I had to restart my journey, and now I'm back at 3 kilometers. This week I reached 4 kilometers. So I'm proud of myself.
Wow, awesome. I think consistency matters and you'll be able to achieve all your athletic dreams again this year. So I wish you all the best for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Shalini, now coming to our quick rapid fire round, answer them very quickly. And it's just 3, 2, 1. So 3 things you are grateful for.
My mother-in-law, the food on my plate, and the books on my shelf.
Awesome. Now 2 traits you think are useful for your legal career.
My writing and my speech.
Awesome. And one aspiration you have for the future.
Oh gosh. I want to get a PhD from Max Planck Institute.
Awesome. So that was great and quick. And now our concluding question, that is, can you share some key takeaways for young lawyers and legal entrepreneurs and people who want to start their journey as an entrepreneur?
If you want to start your journey as an entrepreneur, don't think, just start. You'll never be ready for it. Just take the plunge and learn from people. Keep your ego at the door and your mind open, but not so open that your brains fall out. And be open to sharing as well as learning, because I think in that community thing is where we grow the most, rather than living in an ivory tower. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, and of course, you have to be ready to work Saturday, Sunday, nights, weekend. I don't think there is an entrepreneur. I know you will tell me, right, Priggya? An entrepreneur never sleeps. But it is also an exciting journey, because you discover so much about yourself. You discover that you can, whether you can work under pressure, you discover who are your friends, who are your foes, who is your mentor, and whether you have the appetite for risk or not. Okay. So I will tell you one thing I learned from law school. Did you have Mitra sir?
No, NL Mitra sir left when we joined.
Yeah, okay. NL Mitra sir was the one who had started the program and helped put everything in place. And he had said in his first class to us that you need 3 things to be an IP professional, not an IP attorney, an IP professional. You need technology, which you guys already have, because that was part of the entrance criteria. You need law, which you're going to learn here. And the third, you need management or finance. If you have all 3, only then can you be a true IP professional. So I remembered that. And then when I had the time and space, I went back and got into the finance part of it. So listen to your mentors when they say something, someone has already experienced it and burnt their fingers. So listen to them. And those would be your, it's coming from a place where they don't want to benefit from your losses. They actually mean well.
Beautifully said. And I think these three aspects are absolutely important, because I am also figuring out to enter into business field, not a PhD, but an MBA. But let's see how future goes. But yeah, I think these three aspects are very, very important for us, especially IP attorneys. Yes. So Shalini, and I'll like to add, because you mentioned that entrepreneurs are so busy that there is no Saturday, Sunday. But I think it's a fun side, because we keep, like, we enjoy our work. It's not that we are working under pressure, but we enjoy creating our business. We enjoy speaking to people. We enjoy networking, and we start enjoying the work. So it doesn't feel like a pressure, and it's more of enjoyment.
Absolutely. It is a scenic route if you're enjoying it.
Yeah, definitely. So no matter what, just start something that matters, which always Brendan, there is a very famous person, Brendan Butchert. He always says, start something that matters and you'll do great.
Yes.
So thank you, Shalini, for being on the show. I had awesome time chatting with you, and I'm sure audience is going to love it.
Thank you, Priggya, for having me. It was fun talking to you.
Hey there, thank you for attending today's session. If you enjoyed today's session, do follow our channel and consider sharing it with a friend. My name is Priggya Arora, daughter of inspiring parents, alumna of IIT Kharagpur, engineer turned lawyer and entrepreneur, and now founder of PA Legal, where we help creators and innovators protect their intellectual property. Thank you.